Hi, my name is Joshua Willis. I am a student pilot flying out of Pinnacle Aviation down in Carlsbad, California. My scenario is pretty much a scenario where the weather is not optical to go flying for my level. And your external pressures is pushing you to go fly, and you have to make that decision not to go fly. In my scenario, I chose a 172S, flying out of my flight affiliate. Pretty much, the trip is from Palomar Airport to Palm Springs. But I chose this scenario because it reminded me of what happened with Kobe. I do live in Los Angeles, and pretty much external pressures led that pilot to take that flight. He had the pilot was certified to fly, had the experience. It was a good aircraft, but it just wasn't a comfortable thing for him to do. He, instead of taking that on, and he should have just told them like, hey, it's not a good day to fly. Pretty much he tried to go underneath some clouds and take a perfectly good perfectly good plane, and he kind of like hit a mountain. And it's CFIT, but he had external pressures pushing him to fly. And pretty much that's kind of my scenario. My scenario is about, I felt like everybody was going to pretty much do a scenario that was a success. So I was like, I'm going to do a scenario that's you're not going. In the weather, us being VFR pilots, we have, kind of strict weather limits, far as airspace and things like that. Far as cloud clearances, do not go through clouds, where you should be at, and things like that. So as you go through my slides and you see my slides, I have a ceiling at 3,000, broken at 3,000, a ceiling at 4,000, winds at 10 knots from 209 degrees. That's a little bit off of west. And pretty much, like I said, visibility is at 5 statute miles. So us being new pilots, I wouldn't choose to fly in that. Our traffic pattern altitude at Palomar is at 15. So yeah, you can fly up, you can go up and stay in the pattern, do some takeoffs and landings and things like that. But once you leave that pattern, and it's like you're dodging clouds. And then I also put in my slides that along the route, the ceiling is at 4,000. Do you really want to just fly that low, that far for that long? That's another thing too that you want to take into account when you're planning your trips and things like that. And like I said, this was just like I really wanted to come up with a scenario to where you just didn't go fly, and why, and pretty much the weather, and then what's pushing you, your external pressures, which I put down in my slide. My girlfriend, she's pushing me to go fly because she really wanted to make this trip happen. You guys planned for this, you talked about this, whatever the case may be. And us being new, we're excited about flying, we're excited, so we talk. I talked to her, and I'm like, so she knows the TPA too, she helps me study. So I put down in there like, she's like, let's go fly there. You can still take off, the clouds are not at 1,500. And I'm like, nah, because once you leave that that pattern, then what's next? What's your next move? And pretty much this is my scenario here. Yeah. Once again, my name is Josh, and it was pretty fun doing this whole scenario here. Thank you.